Hello, everybody. I am Dana Abercrombie, and this, along with Adam Vale and our new Oh gosh, I am sorry about this. As you can tell, I will be hosting today. I apologize in advance. Richard Bailey Jr. is somewhere stuck on a plane in some country trying to get back from GDC. I will be hosting today. I am joined with Adam Vale, who you guys are very familiar with.
Yo, what's up? What's up? Yeah, get ready. Another 18 to 20-hour show. We started late. We had all kinds of technical issues. We got Riku-san. He is now a full-fledged wrestling fan once again, thanks
Whoa.
to Underground. It changed his life. He started seeing stars. No, that's not true, but it's going to be fun because I want to bring him on because he hasn't watched wrestling in a while. And I told him, well, you watch some Lucha Underground. That's where you jump into. You don't jump into WWE product because you already know what you're gonna see there. That's expected. But so there you go. So then Riku-san won. Boom, boom, boom.
The only one. What's good, everybody? Riku-san won. The only one from the Throwdown, if you listen to that. And I'm here with Adam Vale. And what is your name again? I forgot.
Dana.
Yes, Dana. Okay. All righty. Nice to meet you. I'm glad I'm on here, and we can get started if you want to hear my thoughts to start off the show. If you want, okay.
Well, first, we just usually get Dana because you know what it is? It's because it says Koalition. That's why. And I'm like, where's Dana? That's right, because you're under the main account. All right, so real quick, what she does is she gives a real quick rundown of what's going on in the news. So that way we get that out of the way.
So very quickly, drum roll. All right, so we have this big thing with Xavier Woods and New Day. People have been saying that the whole pancake situation harpens back to Black Sambo and that it is actually a racist gig, and people are very upset and very angry. However, Xavier Woods recently did an interview, and he's like, you know what? This is not true.
Yeah. Perfect. Connection. Boom, pause. Right, perfect right now. Riku, you don't know what's going on here. So let me just tell you real quick, since you're fresh out of the boat, this will be perfect. What do you think if I was to tell you that 3 black wrestlers come into the ring with a bunch of pancakes, eating them, playing with them, throwing them in the crowd? How would you perceive that?
I would perceive that as pretty odd because I definitely wouldn't see it as racist. I don't know how if anyone thinks it's racist, I don't see it as racist, but that's just odd. Black people around with pancakes, what were they going for?
That's it. No one knows. That's just something that they do. They come in with a stack of pancakes. They start eating them. They start.
Oh, this isn't the first time they've done this?
Oh no, this is a gimmick.
This is a gimmick.
Is it supposed to stand for something?
No one knows. No one asked for it. There was no lead up to it. Just one day they showed up. Like with Bootios, they have their own cereal. You can go and buy that right now. It's called Bootios.
What the?
Yeah, it's like Cheerios, but they call them Bootios. And
exactly.
Why would anyone eat a cereal called Bootios? It's come from someone's booty.
Exactly, some booty juice with the Bootios.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, but see, so there you go. So see, this is perfect because he hasn't watched it, so he doesn't think anything's up with it, just from hearing that. All right, so keep going then.
So what people don't know is that a long time ago there was a book called Little Black Sambo, which featured a racist caricature of an African American child who enjoys pancakes. Then we have the Aunt Jemima maple syrup type, the syrup.
Well, the Aunt Jemima maple syrup, yeah.
Right. So those who look at those caricatures and keep that in their memory bank are linking New Day's gimmick with the pancakes to racist caricatures. And we already know that WWE in the past have had some issues with racism and how they depict their characters, people of color. So that's where that whole situation came from.
But how are they explaining the pancakes? That makes no sense.
Because there's a caricature of a little black child eating pancakes. So
no, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand how the New Day even brought in pancakes into their performance. I don't like they have to explain. Well, this is why we brought these pancakes in because people started looking hungry. And I mean, where do you get pancakes in an arena? That's the other thing.
This is what Harry explains. Xavier was saying that they created the idea for just one match. And it just caught on, and people are still asking for the pancakes. He says, if lumberjack, what do they eat? So he said next week we're going to do pancakes. Sure, why not? And that's where the pancakes came from. Anyone who sees the inclusion of pancakes as racist is looking too deeply into New Day, and that his tag team are themselves out of pre-constructed notions. All we want is a blank slate. And if people continue to refuse to give us one, then they're doing nothing more than continuing to hold up to the social constructs that we're trying to break down. The stuff that we do really isn't that deep. It's all for fun. So.
All right, whatever. They could say it's for fun. You're always going to offend somebody. That's all. You know what I mean? You can't make everybody happy. Doesn't matter what you do. Somebody's going to get offended.
My whole problem with the gig has nothing to do with race. It's the fact that it's silly and it'd be very sanitized. Yeah, I mean, they're throwing out pancakes, and what happens if some little kid gets it, and God knows if they eat the pancake. And we've seen Xavier pull pancakes out of actual booty holes.
Yeah, he pulls it
and
out.
Throw it.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty. All right, so what's next? There goes that.
All right, so Molly Holly will induct Ivory into the Hall of Fame. So that's pretty
Riku,
fun.
You remember Molly Holly?
I don't.
She used to come down with Bob Holly. Do you remember Bob Holly? The race car guy? That was his gimmick. He was a race car driver.
No, I don't remember Bob. I'm gonna tell you my my wrestling career, should I say, my wrestling watching career was from 2004 through 2008. So it actually wasn't that long. So anything that happened between those, so 4 years.
Who was the champion when you were watching that you remember? Who was the big guy on top?
I think that was that was around the time of the uprise of John Cena and Batista. It's around that time. So it was like right before John Cena became like big, like he was still called Chain Gang Group. He had like his
the chain, locker. But that's after when he was Thugonomics, the Master of Thugonomics.
It was a little bit after, correct?
Yeah, because this is
when a little bit after he was like fighting Carlito a lot.
Yep, that was when he was doing his attitude adjustment had a different name.
FU.
Yeah, the FU.
Yeah, I remember when I saw the FU, and then I came back a little bit after I put it down, and it was called the Attitude Adjustment. I was like, "What did they do? No, that's the FU. What happened?" And they're like, "No, they changed it because FU."
They had to get PG. That's what happened.
Yeah, I was like, "Jeez, wow."
Like
Lita had the miscarriage storyline.
Well, even with the Chain Gang, they had to drop the Chain Gang gimmick, with the whole saying the Chain Gang, because it didn't sound right. People start thinking Chain Gang, you're like, oh, that's prison shit.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's where I was. So I know there's a decent amount of wrestlers that I won't have knowledge on, like the one you just said, Holly Molly. Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Those are old. They're well. Yeah, they're probably, Holly Molly is Bob Holly. She came in through Bob Holly, and he was like this weird race car gimmick thing. It was horrible, but then he was known as Hardcore Holly.
Hardcore Holly. Okay, I know that name now.
Okay, there you go. He's most known for getting his ass whooped by Brock Lesnar, and because he didn't want to sell for him. Basically, you got to help out with when they go to lift you up, you help push, those type of things.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do that in the ring for Brock because he had to lose to Brock in that match. And he's like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to help at all. So when Brock went to pick him up to do a power bomb, there was no give. It was just dead weight. He was just all dead weight. So what did Brock do? He dropped him on his head and broke his neck.
Damn.
And that was it. And he legitimately broke his neck. Brock did not get suspended or anything because it was like, yo, this is what you get. you were being a dick. You know the rules. You can't do that because not only can you hurt yourself, like what just happened, but the other guy could get hurt. What if his back goes out? Then he falls on you. Then everybody's getting hurt. Can't do that.
This recently happened?
Oh, this was years ago. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
This is probably around that time. Like if I look this up when he broke his neck, it has to be around that window, that year time. But yeah, so that's the connection. So what's going on is that when he was still the spark plug and all that stuff, then he had siblings, and one of them was Molly Holly, a female wrestler that they threw in just to have a female member of the group. So she's inducting a female wrestler, Ivory, who also wrestled at Glow. Remember Glow? What was it? Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling? I think that's what it was.
Yeah, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
With Big Bad Voodoo Mama. All those craziness. So one of those girls actually made it to WWE. So now they're inducting her into the Hall of Fame.
Interesting.
So the old meets new. All right, keep going. I'm going to look this up.
That was the good old days. 2004 was the good old days, though. So
that was some fun times.
That's when it was actually still good, and that was during the whole Lita. Remember Snitsky?
Sounds familiar. Snitsky.
Oh,
Snitsky.
Yeah, what isn't that a? Oh,
that was the storyline with them and the baby.
Okay, yeah. Is this the dude that said this? Is the dude that always said, "It is not my fault"?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Snitsky. It is not my fault. I remember that.
Yeah, that was the guy. That was the good old days. So
yeah,
that was when Eddie and Benoit were alive and they had their titles. They both had double titles.
I was there for that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take a look in the.
I mean, not there, but I mean, I was like, I remember watching and those two being a thing.
I post that for you. It's a quick, so you can just see what we're talking about, what happened.
Okay. Yeah. All right, you can continue though.
Yeah, keep
watching this in the background.
So there's a really big, interesting news with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. God damn. Okay, Hulk Hogan, yeah.
However, he's going to be behind the scenes, and he wants to help educate the roster on how they can avoid his mistakes, preferably not going around calling black people the N-word. And legal issues that hold space in the past. So this says that he wants to be there for the next generation. He likes what's going on with the WWE. And the WWE have been having discussions with him about how, they can bring him back slowly and introduce him to the crowd. But again, he's not going to wrestle. And so if anyone's looking for him to appear at WrestleMania, so far it's a no.
Who wants to see him wrestle? Nobody wants to see that old man wrestle. You want to see him there just for nostalgia reasons, but I don't think anybody actually wants to see him in a match.
Maybe see him do that whole little thing that they do at WrestleMania.
Would you want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle?
I mean, low-key, yeah, I always want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle, but as far as people like you and people that watch it on a regular basis, I probably wouldn't, because I'd probably be like, I remember even around the time where I was watching, Hulk Hogan was not even supposed to be wrestling, but he would still like randomly come. He would always like randomly come at like like a random Friday night event. He would just see Hulk Hogan and be like, "Oh, cool, it's Hulk Hogan. I haven't seen this guy in a while." And then like 6 months later, you see him again. I'm like, why are you here again? So even during the time that I watched it, and Hulk Hogan shouldn't have been wrestling, he was still showing up from like time to time. Like, hey guys, I'm still relevant, right? Hey, brother.
So the whole thing about Gawker and that whole lawsuit stuff, right? All that stuff. No. Oh man. Yeah. Well, that's outside of wrestling. He just brought down the whole Gawker empire with this whole sex tape scandal. So it's a sex tape scandal that he was dating a girl at the time. She posted up, and then there was also some audio and where he was saying some racist comments about.
Oh, I think I did hear about that.
That was Spark. Barbara Sparks
Bubba
Love.
Spark. Yeah, it was, and wasn't Paul Wall? I don't know why I keep thinking it's Paul Wall because I thought Paul Wall was dating his daughter.
Oh gosh, yeah. But what happened was Hulk Hogan's best friend was Bubba Sparks at the time.
Not Bubba. No, Bubba the Love Sponge.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Jeez.
At the time was his best friend. However, he was sleeping with his wife. Hulk Hogan was sleeping with
Ex-wife.
Bubba's
Ex-wife.
ex-wife.
Jeez.
And she or someone, but he claimed that she set up the camera and was filming him. And it was a very embarrassing moment. So you got to see everything, and him like half dead and passing out the whole time, and him saying that he needed to breathe and to pause. It was a big mess. Anyway, at the same time, he claimed that his house was bugged, and that he was caught on tape talking to Brooke Hogan, who was dating a black, was it a basketball player?
I thought it was a rapper. I'm pretty sure it was a rapper because he started complaining about. Because remember, she was in all these rap videos for a while.
He was in rap videos with oh fart that the producer. It was Scott Storch. So Scott Storch was the producer that Hulk Hogan hired to make Brooke Hogan's album. At the time, she had an album, and WWE was promoting it. Anyway, she ended up hooking up with either a basketball player or a rapper, and Hogan went berserk. And basically, he was saying that he didn't want his precious daughter, who was white, to date black guys. And he also went on a rant against The Rock.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Rock, is African American as well. And so he went on a rant, and he also stated a whole bunch of things, how he couldn't stand the guy and he couldn't stand working with The Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson. And everything was caught on tape and it was released online. Because of that, the backlash, WWE had to basically fire Hogan and stop production on all of his. He had a bunch of the WWE action figures that was coming out, anything that was like the action figures, anything with his name on it.
Merchandise. He always sells those T-shirts. People always are marks to buy all those Hulkamania T-shirts and stuff like that.
Right, and it also included his autograph signings, which he makes a lot of money. Back when he was over here doing New York Comic Con, you easily had to pay at least $200, $300, $400. I know at one time there was one like for $1,500. Virgil was also there, and he begged for $5. It was so sad. But anyway,
sad Virgil.
Sad Virgil. I miss him. He doesn't go to Comic-Con anymore.
Because nobody shows up for his booths. You ever see those videos? It's like people filming. He's just sitting there by himself. There's no line. No one's there. It's sad. It's sad.
But he got to the point where he would jump into other wrestlers' photos and then demand money.
That's sad.
It was a mess. But anyway, because of the whole taping and the bug thing, and it got released and he lost all his money, he ended up being funded by a billionaire whose their goal was to bring down Gawker, but through a lawsuit, and they ended up winning, and Gawker doesn't exist anymore.
There's a documentary on Netflix about this too.
And they're coming up with a Hulk Hogan Gawker movie.
Oh man.
Jeez.
With actors and everything. So it's going to be interesting who plays Hulk Hogan. But it was a big mess. But WWE, now feels that it's a time for him to be backstage. They don't want him in front because, we have to be PG, and what he said wasn't correct, and it's going to bring, controversy back onto WWE, who's trying to be inclusive with their whole diversity thing. And, so it's just a mess, basically.
A lot of drama with Hogan. All right, well, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, in other news, Ric Flair, basically, he started a suit and tie, more of a suit collection, and that he is selling it to the public. So far, he has The Rock, Jamie Foxx, and NFL star Todd Gurley as one of the people who are going to buy his collection. So they're very excited.
Are they spokespersons? Are they going to represent his collection? Like, are we going to see them in commercials and stuff like that?
Just wearing it, and they do a lot of live appearances. So it's like, oh, I'm wearing Ric Flair.
The Nature Boy.
The Nature Boy. Oh man, there's so many different ways they could advertise that. It's like, I'm wearing the woo. I don't know. They got
Ric Flair, Nature Boy.
Ric Flair is doing pretty good because remember, there's that rap song that came out.
Yeah.
So he's getting his name out there.
It was a rap song. I didn't hear this.
Yeah, there's let me see. The Ric Flair he teamed. I think it's 21 Savage and a bunch of other rappers.
Oh,
and he even appeared in the music video. It's with 21 Savage and Offset, and it's called the Ric Flair Drip. And he's in there styling and profiling and wooing and dancing with the rappers. It's really cute.
Well, that's great. That's good. All right.
That's good. At least Ric Flair is still doing good. Because
you missed out. He almost died like a few months ago.
Oh no! Damn it!
Got rushed to the hospital. He was on life support.
Was he doing anything wrestling related when this happened?
No. It was just drinking. Years of boozing catching up.
Jeez.
He had what was it? In order for him, because he drank so much and so heavy, in order for him to just be functional at that time before he was hospitalized, he would have at least 20 shots just for him to wake up and function.
Wow.
It's horrible.
He was a big time alcoholic, and he ended up being hospitalized because his whole body was shutting down and his organs were shutting down. And through a miracle, he made it through, and he was like, I'm going to be clean. And he did that documentary with ESPN, and you got to learn a lot about him and his daughter Charlotte, who's basically wrestling for her father. It's not something that I don't really think that it's something that she wants to do, but she wants to honor her father in that way. So it's very interesting. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I know that it comes on the Demand channel. So check that on ESPN. But anyway, Ric Flair's out there. He says that he picks all of his fabrics, all of the styles, all of the colors, all of the patterns, everything. And if anyone is interested, his suits range from $700 to $2,500.
Jeez.
They have a layaway plan? Like, is this going to be a Men's Warehouse? I mean,
it doesn't say.
They need to say, because that's some hefty prices right there for some suits. They
launched on Monday, so yeah. But they said that over 6,000 people have ordered.
Well, I'm sure there's always people, early adopters. It doesn't matter. It's not just for electronics. People jump early on all kinds of things because you never know how long they're going to last, and it could end up to be a collector's item.
Yeah, I can see that definitely being a collector's item.
Oh yeah,
that is true.
There you go.
So, recently, John Cena was asked, what if there's a transgendered wrestler? Would the WWE be open to that idea? There's been previous stories that were supposed to come into fruition about there being a transgender wrestler. We kind of learned that was going to be the wrestler. Who was the wrestler that was let go with Carmella? James Ellsworth.
Oh, they were going to do that with James? Oh.
They was going to do it with James. So anyway, John Cena says that the WWE doesn't discriminate, and if you got chops and you can talk on the mic, then there's no reason why the WWE wouldn't open its arms to you. But he does say that it has to be for a good story. So the storyline has to be good in order for there to be a transgender wrestler, which is not exactly.
It's not going to happen because the whole point of it is not to advertise it that way. People that are transgendered don't go advertising that they're transgender. You know what I mean? It's just their life.
Another thing, if I could say something about that, as far as I remember, I don't know if they changed it because they like to do their whole PG thing now, but back in my day, about 10 or so years ago, there was a lot of shit talking in the WWE. So, and the stories used to revolve around all this shit talking. So, I mean, I'm sure since they went PG, their shit talking had to go to the PG level of things. But if a transgender person came into the scene and they had a good story, what would the dialogue be like? Even if they had to keep the PG shit talking to a PG level, like. It's going to be really hard. I would think it would be really hard to shit talk this transgender wrestler without saying anything that would trigger transgenders, because we already know how they are.
Do you remember Goldust?
I remember Goldust. Yes,
he's still around. Well, he wrestled like last week, still
Oh,
doing the
really?
same thing.
Jeez.
So there you go. That's the only way they can do it. If you think about it, the way he would get real sexual, is he gay? Is he, no one knows. He's just a
No,
weirdo, right? That's the only way they can portray it. They have to dance around it. I can't ever see them actually saying, "Oh, he's straight up gay or he's bisexual." They never said that about Goldust. All these years later, there's a guy now doing the same type of thing in NXT, Velveteen Dream. And again, they're not saying anything, but he's got the earrings, he's doing the licking and touching, and he's touching the guy, he's doing all that stuff, you know
Yeah.
but they're not saying anything, and I think that's their safe bet. It's just to leave that mystique. Don't say it, because once you say it, then you open up a whole other can of worms.
But I would just think that when it comes to characters like Goldust and the other character that you named, they really did stuff in a really bizarre and jokingly fashion. I don't know if they did try to add a legit transgender wrestler, like I don't know how they would portray that character without him coming off jokey like the other two before him. And I don't know if transgenders would be triggered.
They would.
You
I don't think they would. They had
Yeah.
Darren Young. He's a wrestler recently that he came out. He was gay and he was active on the WWE roster, and they didn't put that in the storyline.
Nope.
They just left it alone. It's like, yeah, the world knew he came out okay, but they did not add that in the storyline. And just that's just being gay. Transgender is a whole other thing. So if they're not going to go the route of like, oh, let's just capitalize off of him being gay and being a wrestler, they definitely would never do the transgender. So I don't see any of that stuff ever happening. Not on WWE programming.
No, I don't see that at all either. It's no way unless you just treat them. My thing is like, my problem is, what do you mean by you have to have a decent storyline?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Why can't you just throw them into any type of storyline at all? You wasn't probably not aware of this, but we had Mae Young when she was alive. She gave birth to a hand. So what exactly are we going to talk about when it comes to a good storyline? That's what I don't get at as well. So it's.
I think when they say good storyline, they either a storyline that meshes with the storylines that they already have, so that wrestler can take place in like the the SummerSlams and the WrestleManias, because that's when everybody's stories usually connect together for that big event, and then they majority of the time go their separate ways. Maybe that's what he's talking about, a storyline that can mesh well with other storylines, so when it is time to cross over, everything worked.
But even like transgender on what side? Like, is it a guy going girl going guy, and then how do you? So if they link it in the story, it would be like, can this person compete in that division, and is it fair to get the belt? In real life, that happened in MMA. There was what's that thing? Brian Gumbel. He has that HBO show, Real Sports, I think it was. There's something called like that, but I know it's Brian Gumbel. And there was a guy, MMA fighter, male, female, and he converted to female. And he did all the hormones and all this stuff. And he was competing. He wanted to compete in some federation against a woman. And they found out, and everyone was against it. And then they finally agreed to it. And he lost. The woman beat him, the legit woman. But it was just a big deal because it's like, all right, here's a man, well, now transgender to a woman, and now wanting to compete in an all-female division. Is that going to be allowed? And the way they saw it, the athletic commission was like, if his documentation now says he's a woman, he's a woman. You know what I mean? If you have a driver's license and the government now recognizes you as a woman, you got to be, that's it. How do you dispute that? You can't argue anymore. You just have to accept it. So it just sounds too complicated for damn wrestling. You know what I mean? It's like, it's supposed to be mindless entertainment. I don't want to start sitting there and thinking all this stuff about it and getting into deep thought, and then you're gonna have all these other issues and people worried about stuff. And I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's gonna happen. Oh, and then for Rico, I posted that's a Velveteen Dream, so you can see this dude.
Okay.
Also show him Orlando Brown.
Oh, Orlando. You mean Orlando Jordan?
Orlando Jordan. Sorry.
Oh, he wasn't gay. That was it. He's married. He lives in Australia.
Yep. But you would never know anything by that.
Yeah. No, same thing. Yeah. I don't think this dude Velveteen is either, but
No,
it
no.
shouldn't matter. Like, well, what's his name from Ring of Honor? Who he's a current champ, or he was a champ. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. He does the Phoenix. Oh, oh, it'll come to me. Just keep going. All right, what's next?
AJ Styles. As we already reported, AJ Styles is currently injured. We don't know with what. They haven't released details. However, he is scheduled to return to the ring at a weekend SmackDown Live event in New Jersey, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Styles is booked to work an 8-man tag match but they're saying that they're going to try to cut down his in-ring work. He will be teaming with the New Day to face Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin, Rusev, and Aiden English. You're probably not aware of this, but during a live event at MSG, he suffered an injury, and basically he missed a bunch of shows during the weekend. He did appear on SmackDown, but if you saw, he didn't get physical at all. We'll talk about that later. However, Styles is told to take it easy. He's saying that, everyone's wondering what's going to happen with the whole Shinsuke Nakamura match. We waited, a little while. Now, what has it been? It's like 6 years or so since the last time they faced each other. WWE likes to pretend that they've never met before, and that's the first time in history.
They can't. Come on now. That's BS. They can't do that. Because, I mean, even during that match, the ladder match, remember when they moved the ladder and everybody was cheering? They're like, they were going nuts. Come on now. They know it. They can't do it.
According to, WWE and how they did the whole thing on Tuesday, it's like they've never faced each other. What will happen? But basically, AJ is assuring people, he's saying, look, if I have to go down there and my leg is cut off, I'm still going to wrestle Shinsuke. I will be perfectly fine. Don't worry about me. So Triple H, he chimed in and he was basically saying that AJ is working diligently on rehabbing his injuries and is getting himself into tip-top shape for WrestleMania. We are trying to help him with that process of getting the best care and the best rehab and everything else possible. We're hoping for the best because this is like the one match everyone wants to see at WrestleMania. So it's going to cost them, little dollars if he can't show. Right now, AJ is feeling a lot better and he will be ready to go. Obviously, we'll get him the right doctors to make sure that everything is fine and that he is medically cleared. But however, everyone's hoping for the best and it looks very positive. So this is a plus. If anyone's looking forward to this match, which I know is a lot of people, everything is going to be okay. So that is a huge thing. I know that do you know who AJ Styles is in Nakamura?
I've heard of AJ Styles. I haven't heard of.
He was originally from TNA. He was basically one of the main guys. He was there from the very beginning. And that's how he was with the company from the very beginning when they was really great. And they had some amazing matches. And do you know who Samoa Joe is?
No, I don't. I haven't heard of those guys.
Samoa Joe is, well, he's a wrestler as well from TNA that came over to WWE, but he's been injured for like 20 years now. It feels like. I think it's like a year or so, but it feels like 20 years. But AJ Styles, he's an amazing wrestler. He also was over at New Japan, and he worked with Shinsuke Nakamura, who is from New Japan, and they were friends and everything. And so he came over. He was a very big draw. He came over, I would say, about a year or two ago from, he appeared during Royal Rumble. And it was a big thing, and a lot of people are looking forward to this match. So everything is still a no-go for right now. So that's a plus. There is a new thing that's coming up around at the end of April 28th. WWE is launching a 10-year partnership with Saudi Arabia next month with a major event dubbed the Greatest Royal Rumble. It's originally announced on March 5th, and the company revealed that it will take place at King Abdullah Sports City. And it's a 62,000 seat stadium, north city of Jeddah. So for anyone who has been to Saudi Arabia, it's over there in Jeddah.
I'm going next week.
Going next week. We got our plane ticket.
Damn right.
Basically, it is a 50-man Royal Rumble match. A couple weeks ago, WWE revealed that the show will also feature 7 championship matches. However, it should be noted that no women will be represented. So it's an all-male show. I don't know if
Well,
that
they
has.
can't do it. They can't show women, right? Isn't that the whole thing?
But here's the thing: they had a match at Saudi Arabia. Remember that was the one with Sasha Banks was there and Bailey, and I remember they was covered head to toe.
Yeah.
So that seemed to work out and went over really well. And they did that whole video package about how the women were crying and cheering because it was the very first wrestling match with women over there. And they broke history. But apparently this show will have no women. There were rumors, it has not been confirmed yet, but there are rumors that it will be broadcast on the WWE network. It will be 5 hours long.
Yes. You hear that, Rico? You get it now? You see why this show sometimes goes so long? When you have to start doing rundowns and stuff for shows that are 5 hours long. Now, think about it, that's 5 hours, but then they always have events leading up to it the night before, which is another 3-hour show here. Oh, pre-show, 2 more hours there. You're looking at 10, 15 hours before the weekend is over. It's crazy. So, too much wrestling.
No, you guys complained that there wasn't enough content on WWE Network. Now you're getting 5 hours of it. That's just one show.
That is nuts. I'm not watching no 5 hours.
Ever complain ever again. Okay, so it's going to be 5 hours long. However, nobody knows what the holy heck is going on, including WWE itself. No one knows if this is going to be a standalone event.
It's a paid show. I thought they announced that it was a paid show, that the prince or whoever, the big sheik that's out there, he paid all this money. All of it's being fronted, right? In return, they get whatever from concessions and stuff like that. But the trip is paid for, the arena is paid for, the talent's flight is paid for. It's just, hey, come out here and put a show.
Right, but they don't know if this is going to be an outside event or if this is going to have an impact on actual storylines. It's going to carry over.
They never these things never carry. They never carry storylines. They've done this before. It's like when they do the shows for the troops. When they go to Afghanistan and they do the whole thing. It's like those stories don't carry over. It's just for fun. It's just to put on a show. It's like a house show. It's a glorified house show.
It is a glorified house show, but many people are looking for answers, and WWE is basically saying we don't even know. We don't even know what the winner of the Royal Rumble match, the pure chaotic 50-man Royal Rumble match, what is going to happen?
50, that's crazy.
50-man.
Well, no, what's going to happen is going to have Braun Strowman, who's just going to throw everybody out real quick. They can't have 50 people in the ring at the same time. They could barely do 30 now.
It's a mess with 30. It's an absolute mess.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You're going to have 30 people hiding under the ring.
Yeah, it sounds good on paper. Have you ever been to Rico, have you ever been to a live wrestling show?
I have not.
All right. Well, that ring is small. It's small. So it's smaller than a boxing ring.
Why don't they just increase the size?
Well, they did. WWE actually has the largest one, but it's still not big enough. And when you have 30 people all around, it's like everyone's just bumping into each other. It's not, you can't wrestle. You can't do anything but throw people out. So when you hear 30-man battle royal, it sounds great if it was like in a Thunderdome or something. But when it's in a small ass ring, it looks really bad.
My guess is that they're going to combine a whole bunch of rings to make one ring.
Oh, the Omega ring. Do War Games. War Games is fun. Yeah, Rico, you'd like War Games. That's when they put 2 rings together and one big cage over both rings. Yes, they did that last year. They did one of those.
They did that. And remember, the cameraman almost died.
Yeah, cameraman almost died. Yeah, there was a lot of blood in that match.
So much blood. So, yeah, if anyone's still alive after that match, they don't know whether or not, the winner's going to get something, have a title shot, get its own separate Saudi Arabia belt. They don't know. So, everyone's just waiting for announcements. But it seems really fun and really interesting. And it'll be on at the end of April, which is 3 weeks after WrestleMania. So, it's...
Yeah, we'll see. That's all right.
So
we got a lot of other wrestling, a lot of other stuff going on.
That's true. Triple H basically gave an explanation about everything and kind of admitted that he doesn't know what's going on either.
Oh, wait, Riku, you know Triple H, right?
Yeah, Triple H. I love
All
Triple
right.
H.
Do you know his current status in the world of wrestling? How he
Is he?
married?
Yeah, he
Okay, so
married Vince McMahon's daughter, right?
Uh-huh.
yep.
And
So he's
he's the president right now, right, or something like that.
the
The
COO.
COO.
Yeah, COO.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yep,
Like
yep.
when
And
Vince dies, which he says he's never going to die,
yeah.
when he dies, Triple H gets, he runs everything.
well,
Interesting.
he's got two shows right now under his belt where he has full control. He has NXT and he has 205 Live. NXT is their developmental show where they get like it used to be just new wrestlers just trying to build up, but it's more of like they're plucking the best indie wrestlers from other promotions and they put them there first, right? They build up their notoriety, popularity, whatever you want to call it, for within the universe, the WWE universe. So that way they understand and know who these guys are, and then they move them up to the main roster. But it's amazing to watch, and we'll get to that when we start talking about with the Lucha, because there's a lot of linkage between Lucha and NXT. And then 205 is their cruiserweight division. It's all the little guys, guys like Rey Mysterio and stuff. And that it's really good. It's fun. It's quality matches. They're flying all over the place. They're playing like 20-minute matches. Really good. All right, there goes that.
So Triple H was basically saying this. I think we're still kind of exploring the options on this. It's a little bit of a work in progress. This event sort of came together very, very quickly. It's 3 weeks after WrestleMania, which you can imagine putting on a week-long spectacle of that nature, and following up 3 weeks later in Saudi Arabia in a massive stadium. Well, it's a bit much. So,
It must have been a lot of money, or else they wouldn't do it. Think about that. You're flying 50
mhm,
people, not including the production crew and all that equipment, to the desert.
yep,
You know what I mean? To set up a match. That must be a huge payday for them. Huge payday for them.
huge.
So they're doing it. They're doing it. I heard Undertaker's also on that. They said they're bringing out all the big guns.
Everybody, yep.
So it's not going to be like, all right, well, who wants to go? They're telling people who's going. I wouldn't be surprised if Brock does resign with them. He'll probably be there too.
That's true. So right
Yeah.
now he says that it takes a lot of logistic work. We're still working on through the process, and I think you'll see some announcements coming up here as we continue to get further in the card and what kind of show it's going to be. So basically, everybody's just working really hard to get that together. And anyone who doesn't know WrestleMania, they basically prepare for WrestleMania in a year in advance. So
Mhm.
you have that, and now all of a sudden you have the whole Saudi Arabia thing. So it's a lot of work that everybody has
Oh,
to
I,
do.
I I imagine that a lot of the props and the setup of the stages that's being created over there. They're probably looking for companies out there that can do those type of designs because it's more cost effective just to have it built there as opposed to transporting all of that stuff, and renting equipment and doing all that just while you're out there instead of bringing all of it. The camera crews and all that stuff, the satellite trucks. I mean, that infrastructure has to be out there, so they'll just have to work those contracts out. They're not going to bring all of that. That takes time, and that's the logistics. Setting things up. Many years ago, I was a PA for a film studio, and I remember one day we needed a camera. We were doing a music video, and the guy who was directing, he was like, "We need a steady cam." It's like one of these cameras that they strap on the body, and the guy walks through, and they want to do this whole scene. We didn't have a steady cam, so he makes a phone call, and he says, "All right, Adam, get in the truck, go to this address, ask for so and so, right? He's going to give you the camera, give him this envelope, right?" Of course, I looked in the envelope. It was a bunch of money. I don't know, a few $100. So I'm like, all right, so he's renting it from somebody. And you know where I went? To the Spider-Man set. Uh, the first Spider-Man where they were in the the Green Goblin's house, and there's a spiral staircase that was going up.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I was there. It was in a hotel, and I went to the front PA there that was there in security. I told him what I was looking for, that they were expecting me. I went up there. The camera guy was up there. He had a bunch of other equipment. He had a whole setting on the side, and that was it. That was the set. I was like, "Oh shit, you're filming Spider-Man here." And so he gave me the camera, took all the equipment. But the whole thing is that they're gonna have to make do with what's there. They can't rely on bringing everything because if they forget something, they're screwed. So it's just finding a facility and a company that can provide all the equipment that they need, all those HD cameras. But that's the thing, that high def cameras are very expensive. There's still a lot of networks that have not switched over to high def because it's so expensive. So that's going to be the hardest part, just trying to get all of that. I don't know if it's out there. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know, but that's going to be hard.
That is true. So wrap it up really quickly. Also, there is an indie wrestler by the name of Christopher Hayden. Christopher Hayden, many people don't know, but they will not forget, due to the recent incidents of what happened on Monday Night Raw. He was one of the guys who was portrayed as the U.S. Marshal who was trying to arrest Roman Reigns. During that arrest, Roman hit him. Remember, if you've seen Raw.
I saw it. He grabbed it. I mean, it was weird. He told him, "Don't touch me. Don't touch me." Is that it during that scene?
He don't touch me, and then they touched him, and then he clocked the guy. Apparently, he clocked him so hard that he suffered a dislocated jaw, and he's very upset.
That's a payday.
His dislocated jaw, and he went on Twitter and he was stating, "The first day on a new job, and my jaw is dislocated. I quit." So, whether or not
he ain't trying to sue.
No, he don't quit. Those guys don't even get hired. They're just paid for the appearance as they're there. When they come to town, how it works is that when they come to town, they contact the local promotions. Most of the time, they'll send over some guys, and they say, "All right, we need you for these spots and these skits." So he's paid as he was there. I mean, he should say something. There's plenty of guys that have been hurt, from those type of spots. So he can make some money. I'm sure he'll get some money.
He's getting a lot of attention. He's, basically being written about every day, and he's asking people to do interviews on him. So he's getting attention from this. So dislocated jaw, not good for him and his, 15 seconds of fame. He's even a meme. So it all worked out.
Whatever.
Vince Russo is in a couple of hot water. You didn't know. You probably know because you was watching back then. I'm not sure. Did you watch in the 90s?
I was not watching in the 90s, but I heard some stuff here and there, like Stinger and this and that, but I definitely did not watch in the 90s.
Okay.
Well, Vince Russo was one of the head writers for WWE during the very popular Attitude Era. And he was responsible for weird storylines that involved Stone Cold Steve Austin. Remember the whole kidnapping of Stephanie McMahon? Did you remember that now?
Didn't he do the Katie Vick where they were having sex with a corpse?
Yeah, the sex with the corpse. Necrophilia and other stuff. He was also involved with The Rock. But basically, in a really weird twist of events, he does not have a podcast anymore. At least not with Podcast One, the network Podcast One. Now, this is kind of weird. Vince Russo got his channel canceled after wrestler blogger Ryan Satin accused Russo's fans of threatening to kill his girlfriend when Russo and his marks, or people who are really, really into wrestling, for those who don't know what the marks are, basically they took things too seriously and they started to threaten Ryan Satin, his life, his wife, and his whole existence, his family, and his friends. Now, they have history together, and it's not very good history. Satin in the past has accused Russo of saying racist, sexist, and homophobic things about wrestling fans and asked sponsors to leave Russo's podcast. Russo said he lost one advertiser as a result. On the March 8th episode of Castrating, Russo and his co-host, Lane, mocked Satin and his girlfriend by basically calling her a whole bunch of names. It was like douchebag and abnormal and ill, and that, he started suggesting that anyone can reach out to her. Basically, it turned really ugly. The podcast network got a hold of this, obviously, because it's on their network, and they was like, yeah, this is not good at all. So they dropped him from their podcast, and they canceled all the shows, and they canceled him from the homepage. So Russo had to then go and find another home, which is the Realm Network. And now people who love Russo, they have to subscribe $3.95 cent per month in order to listen to Russo and his podcast. Well, so he says that even though his podcast was canceled and terminated because of this whole ordeal, that he's happy because now, he'll actually have more supporters, and he's saying that they're more dedicated, devoted fans because they're paying the $3.95.
He's not the only one that's done this though. Eric Bischoff went behind a paywall also.
Mm-hmm.
That you see a few people trying to do that, and it's just naturally that's the next progression. Because like if you can't get advertisers, or if you are getting advertisers, you're still not making money, big money. Which is why you still need to set up a Patreon and do the whole thing. So it makes sense to say, you know what? Let's see. Let's say if you have, I don't know, 15,000 subscribers, how many of those are willing to jump over to listen to you behind a paywall? You don't know until you do it. So I know Eric Bischoff, he's been doing it for a while. I've never listened to it because I really don't care what he has to say, but I know that there are a lot of people that do. He has a large following, but I just wonder how many are actually following after he switched to the paywall. He does have like a small free version, but if you want all the good stuff, like whatever they consider that, you have to go behind the paywall. So who knows? Maybe it'll work out for him, whatever. But I never liked Vince Russo. I mean, he felt too much like he was trying to be a character. And it's just there's plenty of writers out there, or former writers, who have their own podcasts. You got McCarthy, who does the We Watch Wrestling podcast and stuff. And he's true to what he did. He's like, yeah, I liked it, I quit, it sucked, and that's it. But I do love the business, and I do love wrestling. Vince Russo, I feel like, is all about gimmicks of himself, trying to get himself over, always trying to jump back into the, well, if I was to write this, I don't care. Yep. So who knows? Let's see. So wish him all the best if it works.
It'll work out for those who like him.
Yeah.
So it looks like Big Cass is coming back as well. Okay. He suffered a series of loss with the whole Enzo Amore thing, personally and professionally. He lost his girlfriend Carmella. They broke up. He had his ACL torn, so he's been out of action for around like 9 months, almost to a year now. So he's had a pretty sucky year, but it looks like he's going to come back, and he's very excited for this. They've been doing a lot of rehab, and it's predicted that he'll be back after WrestleMania. But so far, it looks like he's ahead of schedule. So anyone who's looking forward to seeing him, round of applause to that. He'll be coming very soon. So good for him. And lastly, after the whole, we'll get to this later, Ultimate Deletion, it looks like Bray Wyatt is going to be repackaged. And he recently tweeted goodbye. So he's going to be coming back in a new form. Maybe, Husky Harry.
Oh, no. It sucks. I saw that too. And that's something you need to watch too, Riku, because that is some bizarre. We were talking about it too, because Riku said he was also, besides Rey Mysterio, he's a fan of Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. Mm-hmm. And I told him that Matt Hardy's still around. He's still relevant. He's just crazy right now. And it works. It works. I'll also do something on that. So he does these crazy matches, and they're called the deletion matches. And this one was Ultimate Deletion. And it was pretty crazy. But the point is that the guy he defeated, he threw in to his lake, which he calls with the reincarnation, the lake of reincarnation. So you come out different, and I guess this guy, is gonna get a new gimmick. So it's weird.
It's but weird, it was fun, and I'm really shocked that WWE, went all out and allowed them to be themselves. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So that's the end of what's happening in this week. Right. It was a lot. Yay, we finished.
We did it. But now, this is it. All right, so for people listening, watching, whatever, so Riku has not watched wrestling in years. He had decades. He had a traumatic experience. He saw some blood one day, a blade job, freaked him out. He was like, I can't watch this. So he walked away. But anyway, we're always talking about it on Throwdown, and he's always getting on me. I'm not watching this shit. I was like, well, watch Lucha Underground. Lucha is not like WWE product. It's its own thing. I mean, they kill people, they suck souls, there's demons, there's all kinds of shit. But there's a lot of crazy in-ring action. So I told him, I said, hey, if you can, watch season 2, Ultima Lucha. Right there. This is a 3 night event. So the last night, we just watched episode 26. And we'll bring you on the show and just tell me what you think because he has not watched wrestling in a long time, but not some crazy shit to watch. So Rico, what did you think?
So I watched the entire thing, and I am fairly impressed by Lucha Underground. I'll tell you what, as far as the 4 years of wrestling that I was watching wrestling, um, the episode that you made me watch, that is some of the best choreography that I've ever seen in the ring. Um, I mean, I've seen that from Rey Mysterio all the time. So the stuff I saw Rey Mysterio doing wasn't new. It was good. It was good to see it again because, like I said, I Rey Mysterio was in my top 3 favorite wrestlers. So it was good to see him still doing his thing, all authentic and whatnot. But it was good to see damn near every other motherfucker doing some Rey Mysterio type shit too. That was
like, for example, like the Monster Matanza, right, going against Pentagon Jr. Matanza is a big dude.
Pentagon Dark.
Yeah, Pentagon Dark. That's right, because he's dark. And to see, the Monster Matanza doing sunset flips and all that crazy standing,
fucking did 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding?
And then he went back up and did another box. Like, how's this big ass nigga doing all these backflips? It's crazy.
That's the whole shit. It's so crazy. Whatever you think you know or what you think to expect from these guys, throw it right out the window.
It was nice. The 3v3 at the beginning, that was a nice 3v3. Like the Pentagon Dark fight, that one was really good. I did not see that ending in him like at the very, very end of the the whole event. He like brought the commentator, started whooping in on him.
All right, maybe you don't remember that guy. Do you know who that commentator was?
Did he looked mad familiar.
That's Vampiro.
Mm-hmm.
He was in WCW. If you look at Vampiro, he was real skinny and he had like face paint that looked like the Misfits, and like the bone, like a skull face and stuff. So yeah, he was a wrestler for a long time. But yeah, that was crazy. He took the barbed wire out, and and just like cut him up. But the one for Ultimate, for Lucha Underground, the end of season 1, they put him through a flaming table. So he's always getting it. But that was crazy. And Prince Puma. That had that match with Rey Mysterio.
That was some awesome shit right there. Like 3 or 4 different variations of the 619 was shown. Rey Mysterio. Were they trying to like make this the hurrah farewell fight for Rey Mysterio?
No, what was going on is that he had just showed up to the Federation. He showed up to Lucha Underground. He left WWE and he's bounced around all over the place.
Yeah.
When he left, he was doing, and it's mainly because it was on his good terms. He just was ready to get off the road. I mean, you're part of WWE. That's like a traveling circus all year round.
Yeah.
So he wanted some time off and just do small, gigs here and there. All right, I'll wrestle here a few months there. So he showed up at Lucha Underground, and this was the match that everybody wanted to see.
Oh, so he hasn't been okay, because only watching one episode, I couldn't tell if he was there for like the entire season.
No, and that's why at the end when even though he won, spoilers for people that didn't see it, he wins, right? But you remember he's like, this is your area, this is your zip code. I'm gonna let you take it. It's your people, and he walked out, and people still cheered him. They're like, respect. All right, there you go. Because he showed up, and then he has a few more matches in season 3. Right, but he's done now. Now he's done, and now he's in talks with going back to WWE. He showed up at the Royal Rumble not too long ago. So it sucks that he might go back. But again, he wants a reduced schedule. He doesn't want this full schedule. And it's amazing that he could still go at his age after doing all the years of wrestling that he's been doing. But now Ricochet, which is the guy who's wrestling, he signed with WWE. And he's going under his ring name that he uses outside of Lucha Underground, which is Prince Puma is Ricochet. I should flip that around. That's why. Because that's the thing. A lot of these indie wrestlers, all their names and stuff that they have with Lucha are just for Lucha.
Okay.
They give you these characters and these gimmicks, and then you can do whatever you want outside, but when you're in lucha, you're under this name. So
Yeah.
he was Prince Puma there. Contract ended after season 3, and now he's with WWE. He's over in their NXT division. So that we
Interesting.
haven't. Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting because if you look up highlights, he's the only wrestler that I know I've ever seen who does a double moonsault. A double moonsault, off the top turnbuckle. That is crazy, and he lands it. That's two
Oh
full
yeah.
flips.
Yeah,
Freaking nuts.
he did do that. I did see that in his like little previews, his highlights, and then he tried to do an
He's
array and landed on his butt. That was
he
funny.
does. Oh, that was his 900. He does all kinds of craziness. The
Yeah.
guy just does not hold back.
I like the
So it.
part where he Rey Mysterio was like on top of him and he had him like he was standing up and then they both like kind of like flipped over the
Oh, and he
ring
flipped over the.
and there was
Yeah,
he was still
still
on top of
connected.
him. I was like, oh, that's some cool shit right there. Like
Yeah.
choreography was like
Oh yeah.
phenomenal.
Top notch, top notch. I
Phenomenal.
mean, there's so many crazy matches. There's one, and I can send you later, and you could just watch on YouTube because it's from season 3. But it's nuts. It's a Dante Fox versus a Kill Shot. That match was like match of the year. You're gonna see shit in that match you've never seen before. You've never seen before. If I even was to tell you what you were gonna see, you'd be like, "You're lying to me. You're lying." It is so crazy, and that was from their Ultima Lucha event from last year. That hasn't popped up yet on Netflix, but it's on YouTube. But yeah, no, Lucha's fun.
We
Lucha's
should
very fun.
if I was still watching if when did Lucha Underground start?
Oh man, I wouldn't say it's about 3 years because they had like when it first started, it was no one knew what to expect from it because you see how it's filmed. It's filmed almost
Mhm.
like a TV show.
Yeah.
Like when they do the backstage stuff, it's like, oh, what is this?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
no
Yeah.
one really knew what to expect from it, and then they have all these crazy gimmicks. I don't know if you
Lucha
saw the
Underground
other
is
one.
not associated with WWE in any way.
No, no,
No.
no. One of the writers, one of the main writers, is from WWE, but almost everybody has worked in WWE at some point. So, but
Mm.
that's their only real connection. They're not associated. It's owned by Robert Rodriguez,
Okay.
the director, Robert
Okay.
Rodriguez. So he has something that he produced. I wonder if he's still, yeah, he's still, because at the end it still says his production company,
Okay.
and it's on the El Rey network. And people like El Rey Network. I don't know if you get it. I don't get it. The El Rey network's pretty much only out in California. It's on satellite TV. I think you can get it on Slingbox if you pay like $20 a month or whatever. It's
And the
one of the
El Rey
channels.
network that has nothing to do with Rey Mysterio, right?
No, but El
I
Rey
saw him
they put in money. They put in money to get him.
Yeah, I saw
That's
him. He was
why that's
wearing it.
why
I was
he
like,
had the El Rey
damn.
on his shirt because they knew
Mhm.
it was going to be highlight reels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be all over YouTube and stuff. So they wanted to get their name out. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is where you can see him.
Yeah.
And I wish other markets would get the El Rey network because the El Rey network is like the best channel you would think you would get. They show like Big Trouble in Little China. They show Machete. They show all these Grindhouse. They show all those B type movies, action movies. It's Escape from New York. Whenever I would look up if you go on their website and you look up their schedule, their TV listings, it's all those type of movies. And then Lucha Underground sprinkled in there. I was like, this sounds like a fun channel. I want to watch more of this.
And Explosion Jones.
Yeah, Explosion Jones, Action Jackson. It's like, it's like, oh man. But yeah, we don't have it. But so yeah, it started a few years ago, and then it didn't get received well at first. And a lot of people said it wasn't going to come back. They were like, oh, it doesn't look like it's going to come back. A lot of wrestlers are leaving. Then they wound up getting more funding. Then the El Rey network actually started putting more money in because they're like, you know what? Maybe it didn't get received well, but the ratings were there. People were tuning in, and word of mouth was spreading. So they were like, all right. Then it flipped. Second season, it was definitely getting received well, but where do you get to see it? Right? Who has the fucking El Rey network? So everybody was either just watching full matches on YouTube, which is still there. They didn't go hunt them down and tell these guys stop. They just let them stay there. So there's some channels that just have every damn match from season 3. You can literally just subscribe to the guy's channel and watch every single match.
Okay.
Which is cool. And they know because they know they're not in all the markets. They know it. So what's the point? The point for them, on at least on their end, is to get the product out there, let people see it,
Word of
and
mouth.
then yeah, and then hopefully it'll pay off in some other form. Maybe they buy merchandise, or that's the other thing. They don't travel. That they have the temple. If you saw that place, that's their temple. That's in Boyle Heights. That's in California, and that's it. They do their matches there. No one pays to go into matches. That everybody that's there, it's free of charge. You show up and you keep getting invited to show up because that's how it works. So it's awesome. So everybody's super happy because no one had to pay to get in. So another cool thing with that. But word of mouth spread, and it's just amazing wrestling and crazy storylines. I don't know if you saw the female match, but then there was a woman that came out. She licked the other one, and her face was like the kiss of death. And usually when she does that, the person dies. And so it's like all this craziness. But it's fun. It's different.
It's
It's
definitely
definitely
different. The reason I asked you when did it start, because I was like, if this has been going on when I was watching it, if I could go back in time, I would tell myself to stop watching WWE
Oh yeah.
and watch this shit, because, like I said, I like to see high flying action. That's why I always enjoyed watching Rey Mysterio, and to watch literally everybody from all shape of sizes, male, female, skinny, fat, all doing backflips and crazy shits like that. That's something I would have been fucking addicted to if I was definitely still watching wrestling actively. And I actually do have a couple of friends that watch wrestling actively. I'm gonna ask them if they know about this, and
Oh,
if they
and see,
don't.
but now doesn't this want you just like whenever you have free time, be like, what? Let me go watch one of these Lucha Underground matches. Just go in and watch because every show is like that. Every episode, and it's only an hour long episode. Those specials, the Ultimate Lucha, they were 2 hour specials. But normally the episode is just 1 hour, and you just get a lot of matches, a lot of craziness, you know, and it's just fun to watch. It's very fun to watch. It's different, you know.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, it's its own, and that's the reason why I throw down all the time. I was always telling everybody just watch some
Mhm.
Lucha Underground. They're like, what's wrong with this guy? Why you tell people? Because it's so different. It's fun to watch. It's out there, you know. So it's gonna be interesting because they started filming season 4, but what sucks is that a lot of these guys left because just like anything, word of mouth. Now people know about them, highlight reels, videos, and they've got gobbled up. Some are in Japan, some are in Ring of Honor, another promotion, and signed contracts. Some are in Impact Wrestling, which is now going to sort of partner with Lucha, and some, like we just said, like some of the big names, Ricochet, they went to WWE.
Mm.
And so I mean, you hope they can find new stars, and
Yeah.
build new stars, and I believe they can because that they were pulling out guys like even when tonight. I'm just gonna say that you got to watch that Dante Fox match. When you see that, you're like, those two guys are still there, but I'm guaranteeing that one of those two guys. 2 years later, whatever, your other buddies that watch wrestling will be coming at you. Oh man, you got to see this match. But yeah, I saw one of his matches years ago. Awesome. These guys they're amazing. They're some amazing performers. you know. So yeah, the choreography, it's top
Yeah.
notch. That's the thing. It's like some people think I'm not watching anything besides WWE because it's going to be low quality and the level of performance isn't going to be there. That's not true.
It's
It's not true.
higher.
Oh, and that's how Netflix came in.
Mm.
So when after season 2 and everybody wanted to see it, they were like, all right, they started pitching who wants it, and then it was in talks with Hulu and Netflix. And people weren't sure what's going to happen. And Netflix picked it up. Now they picked it up for the first 2 seasons, and from what the reports were, from the business reports, wasn't even rumor, just business reports, that there was an option to buy outright to have it as a lucha as an exclusive. Like they become that's their show, right? But supposedly that was going to be based off of the numbers, viewership
Yeah,
numbers. How do we know numbers? Netflix never releases numbers.
that's
You know what
true.
I mean? So how the hell we would know? No one knows. But we know that it didn't happen because El Rey said that Lucha Underground was coming back to the El Rey network. So we're like, all right, so it's going back to El Rey. It's not going to be exclusively to Netflix. So I guess it didn't happen. But a lot of people didn't even know that Lucha Underground was on Netflix. There was like no advertising for that.
Yeah, none.
But it's tough. How do you again? It's like how do you advertise in markets where your product's not even on TV? To say, oh, by the way, Lucha Underground is now on Netflix. Then we're like, what's Lucha Underground? You
Mm-hmm.
know,
That's what I was thinking though. When you start of Netflix, like the thing that gets the most attention is usually whatever is on that auto play front page thing, and it just starts playing before you could even like move or do anything. I'm sure whatever like show or movie is up on there has to pay a lot of money to like get that front page for just like a week or so. But I think I saw something on when I was actually searching for Lucha Underground today when I loaded up Netflix, some comedy movie called Game Over Man or something like that. They played some preview, and I was interested. I was like, okay, I'll add that to my list and I'll watch it later. But just it happens, it works. So I'm sure if Lucha Underground was just up there for like even 5 days a week, it would definitely help it.
Well, that's the thing. Most of the time, those are all like their Netflix original shows too. It's like they were like, "Oh, look, Marvel series, this and that." There, and that's why when people heard, it's like, "Wow, it's going to be on Netflix," and if Netflix buys them, it's definitely going to be in that shuffle because it's going to be in that one panel of Netflix originals.
Yeah,
so it'll definitely be up there, but it hasn't happened. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, word of mouth is going to keep spreading. If they keep up with the crazy stories and all the crazy action, word is going to keep spreading.
Building the archive.
Building the archive. We have the internet now. Back in the day, people had to tape trade. It's like, oh, go and try to find tapes, of wrestling matches. But now, with all these wrestlers jumping to WWE and other stuff, and people are like, hey, let me look this guy, Ricochet. Who is he? It's going to link to Prince Puma. Prince Puma links to Lucha Underground. People are like, wow, that's crazy. I want to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
So people can look things up now. So hopefully they find it and it works out. But they need to get those TV deals expanded because that's going to hurt if you're not out there. But that's it.
True.
I'm glad you liked it. See, that's good. Lucha Underground for everybody. Now, if I can get Tony to watch it, man, it's
the thing. Has Tony ever been a fan of WWE ever in his life?
No.
That's the thing. I think this will only really work on someone who is or had been a fan of WWE, because I don't think
the reason why I thought it would work for Tony, because when he talks about things that he likes, like he doesn't like shooters and stuff because it's too real. He likes fantasy, right? He likes all the fantasy stuff and things like that. Well, this is fantasy. Lucha Underground's all fantasy.
It's true, but it's a different type of fantasy. You definitely have
likes fighting and stuff, and they're doing fighting, So
yeah, I think Tony might be the type of guy that would probably, like, if he had to choose, he would probably choose MMA over Lucha Underground or WWE, only because Tony seems like the type of guy that would rather the fighting to be real, regardless of how good the choreography is. He's the type of guy I can see saying, "Oh, I just something in my head just says, keeps on screaming, this is all fake." I can see him saying something like that when it comes to these. When, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm just here to see some good choreography. That's all. I mean, back in the day, when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh my God, they're bleeding. This has to be real," But when you come to the conclusion that if you're here to just see a good story and a good choreography, then I mean, it really isn't no different than watching an anime.
Yeah. There's some amazing high flying action, and you're like, "Yo, these guys are athletic." They do. Was it? It was like a year or so ago. My wife and I, we went to SmackDown, and we brought my father-in-law and his friend, who's a wrestling fan. So us four, we're there, and there's guys flipping around doing stuff, and my father-in-law looks at me and says, "I can't believe how athletic these guys are." It was like, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting a lot of holding and wrestling. These guys are flipping around, jumping off the ropes and flying out of the ring, and things have changed. It's a different ball game, because back in the day, remember, that's what it was. It was all about the big guys moving slow. Now big guys, like we just talked about, doing flips and moving just as crazy as the little guys, which is even more overwhelming, because you're like, oh my God, they're so big doing that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of weight.
That did surprise me.
Like even when I see Matanza do his finisher, it's like, it looks like a body slam, but he's going reverse, and then he jumps in the air. Like all of it looks like something that you would see in Street Fighter. Like, oh dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun to watch. See, now I'm hyped up. I feel like watching some more Lucha Underground. But Dana, do you watch Lucha Underground? Did you watch any of it? I think you watched it.
I do. I've kind of like fallen off. I'm very excited for the next season if they stop, trying to sue everyone. But
Yeah.
I do.
I wasn't that. All right, so just for a little bit backstory for anybody listening, so Lucha Underground is scripted, right? Now it's taped script. That's the other thing, as you see with this, is that it's different than WWE. Is that it's season based. There is an end season, an end point. WWE is, all year round. There is no end point. They say WrestleMania is their re-beginning of storylines, but there's never an off season. Lucha has an off season. It's a scripted TV show. So anyway, some website got a hold of the script and pretty much was leaking all the episodes and the outcomes of matches and what was going on in the story.
Damn.
And so they sent them a cease and desist. And then they made a big stink. How dare they do that? And blah, blah, blah. But I get it. I mean, this is your product. You're spending a lot of time, a lot of money. And it's not like, oh, they got insight on one episode. They released everything. And we see that with reviewers now for TV shows, critics and stuff. They don't start leaking stuff. They go and they review shows and they don't start leaking it out right away. Sure. They don't do that. They wait. They wait till the episode airs and then they give their opinion. They don't start saying, "Well, I saw all these episodes and this is everything that happens." No, that's a scumbag thing to do. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's a scumbag thing to do, and plus, people aren't gonna, just for spoilers' sake, they're not gonna fucking read anything you post.
Not necessarily.
I mean, I'm talking about the majority of people that actually care about the content. Those, and that definitely outweighs the people that are gonna go out of their way and spoil it for themselves. The majority of people are going to read your review whichever episode just released. Obviously, it's more respectful to do it that way, but to get the best views, that's the best way to do it. Also, that's when I look at a review. As soon as I finish episode 4, then I'll go look at episode 4. If I saw you had episode 5 out, I wouldn't go and look at it. I'm just not that type of person. And the type of people that do that are, I personally think they're in the minority. But yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, it is bad though. Which season was that got leaked?
That was a new one, the one that they're filming right now.
Damn.
And that's why it's like, no, you can't do it. And then it's like, so everybody that shows up to the event pretty much signs a disclaimer, that they're not going to say anything, this and this and that. They have all the information. Now, this guy said, well, I didn't get it from there. I wasn't there. Somebody from that was there gave it to me. So, but he won't disclose who gave it to him. They're like, all right, so tell us who gave it to you. He won't say it.
Snitch.
Yeah, he don't want to snitch. But still, it's messed up.
It is pretty messed up. So what are they gonna do? Are they gonna change the whole script around? Like,
no, they already filmed it. They're gonna
oh, okay. I didn't know they already filmed it. I just thought they had like this.
No, from those episodes, they're still filming it. But what can you do? What I mean? It's like there's a lot of money that goes into all of this.
Damn. I mean, at the end of the day, all you can really look forward to is how it's executed now.
Yeah, and hope that it doesn't spread. Hope that people just don't follow it. I see it as sort of like when you heard all of the spoilers for one of the Star Wars movies, and they're like, oh, the spoilers are here. This guy knows all this stuff. Avoid it. If you really care about the movie and the franchise, you avoid that.
I definitely do. Like when Black Panther, I only watched like 1 out of like 5 or 4 trailers that came out for it. I'm still trying to hold myself off with all these Infinity War trailers, man. That's hard, but
I did not see any of those. I'm not even.
I think I saw like one of them. I didn't see the. Wait, did I see the one where he was like pushing back Thor with his fist? I can't remember.
Everyone dies, by the way.
I know, but still, like I said, at the end of the day, I care about execution, not like what happens. I care about how it's executed. But
I did not want to see any of that stuff. Same thing with God of War. I was like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah. I didn't even want to see the like I said when we were doing the throwdown. I didn't even want to see the trailer that Carlos posted inside the show notes, but I watched it for the sake of. Say what?
His son dies.
Dana's dropping all of this.
Jeez. If that happens, then man,
That goes against my whole theory. Then if that happens,
that's a whole theory. If that happens, shit,
no,
that wouldn't be his. That wouldn't be his first offspring that died if that's the case.
no.
But either way, yeah, I didn't even want to watch that one. I only did it for the sake of seeing what for the sake of the conversation of that podcast. But yeah, I don't really. I try to stay away from as many spoilers as possible on these days.
Yeah. And then that's it. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't much going. I mean, yeah, we had Raw and it had a lot of build up, but the thing is that a lot Raw, SmackDown. The only thing that really mattered, I think, this week was with the 205 because we finally saw Mustafa Ali.
Are you
Mustafa Ali.
serious?
Yeah, Mustafa Ali made it. He made it. He's going to. What?
Are you honest to God gonna say nothing happened during this week that was major? Are you really?
I'm trying to think. What am I forgetting? I mean, think about it.
Are you right now being serious?
Are you saying what the Brock Lesnar beating this dude up when he was handcuffed?
No, I'm kind of going back to like a huge star that like totally came back. It was like, I'm wrestling, guys, and started crying in the ring.
Oh yeah. That's right. Daniel Bryan.
Wait,
But you know what? You know what it is? You know what it is? I don't know if Riku knows about Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan, he's a little guy. He got hurt. He was a good wrestler. He had to. If you ever heard anybody do a yes, that whole thing, they do it at basketball events. They do it football stuff. It all started with this kid. Now he hurt his neck. I didn't want to do surgery, so he's gonna let it heal naturally. Right? He had a bunch of concussions. Also, doctor said you can't wrestle anymore. So WWE gave him a different role in the business, and he was a general manager and doing that whole thing. But he kept petitioning, kept going to doctors, kept saying he was feeling better, this and that. Eventually, they cleared him, right? So they just announced breaking news: he's cleared to wrestle. And he goes in there, and of course, they do a tough spot, which is where they have two guys just beat on him. Oh yeah, you good to wrestle? Blah blah blah. They give him a lot of stiff shots and this and that. But the thing is, and the reason why I'm not surprised by all this and why I don't see it as a big deal is that when you have concussions, I've had a concussion, but they're not chronic. But I do know people that have had chronic concussions. That can come back from the slightest thing. The slightest hit to the head can trigger a concussion. Once what it means is your brain is already loose. It found space and now it's loose. And so any weird even if you're like running and you turn your head, that whiplash, you can get concussed from that. I mean, he said he's had like 8 concussions. So for him to say, doctor said I'm fine now. Yeah, you haven't been wrestling for like a year and a half. Everything is settling in, but all it takes is for that wrong hit, and back to wiggling it goes, and out you go. So I really think he shouldn't be doing this at all. So while everybody's like, yeah, he's back, and then they're like, look, he's taking all these stiff shots. They did the same thing the last time he came back from this, and then he got hurt again. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm not surprised, and I'm not excited for this. He shouldn't be wrestling. You got to take with the bumps that you have. Shit happens. Life gives you some shit. You're like, fuck, what do I do? Well, you make the best of it. He's married now. He has a kid. He works for the company, which love him, and they're going to give him a job no matter how long, whatever he wants to do. He'll always have a job there. Fans are always will always support him. He still sells a lot of merch, even though he doesn't wrestle. He's got it good. Now he's playing with fire, taking his chance, going back in there because, all it takes is one other serious concussion, and then he's out for good. And then there will be no coming back from that.
You are no selling this at all. You don't even really see like the Lifetime movie biopic.
Nope, because it's gonna have a sad ending. I don't want to see
Lifetime movie body. Nope. See, no. This is the thing, and maybe he may end up seriously injured. Maybe, God forbid, paralyzed. Maybe worse. Who knows? But here you have a man from day one was told you will never make it.
I don't care. I don't care about the sad story. He made it. He made it. He made it before he got hurt. He got hurt now. He can't do this shit no more. Everybody before him that's had neck surgery. Neck surgery is supposed to make your neck stronger. Most of the time they tell. I know I had arm surgery when I broke my arm, and now I got with the extra bone that built around the metal bar and stuff. It's like it's stronger than it was before because I got reinforcement of the bone and the steel.
All right,
And these people
Terminator.
still can't come back because it's still a risk. So here's a guy who refused to get the surgery and has all these issues, and he's gonna come back. Come on now.
He refused to get the surgery because he believed that he can cure it naturally.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah.
yes, he was stubborn in that aspect. But it took a long while, but he made it back. And WWE made it known that after any match that he's involved in, even any small incident, he will go in for routine scans.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Brain-
that's it. It's gonna be after the first match then. Because I'm telling you, his head is loose. The brain is loose. That's it. There's no fixing that. No fixing that. Concussions, there's no fixing that.
As
You
long
know.
as he's not touched by Seth
Oh,
Rollins.
doesn't matter. It's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna hit him. Somebody's gonna hit him the wrong way. Something's gonna happen. Look what happened with Paige. You know, all it takes. And she had the surgery.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way it is. It sucks. I get it. It sucks. You're young. You still want, but it's sometimes life just throws you some fucked up shots. You know, and you just gotta live with it.
If he got a different role in the WWE, he should honestly just be
That's what I'm saying.
happy that he's still in the industry in some way, shape, or form.
He's got a daily role, a live role. He's out there. He's the general manager. He's involved in storylines, and he's doing stuff. He's always there. It's just he wants to keep wrestling. You know, and
Isn't it better that he's wrestling under WWE than say some random indie? Because we all knew, no matter what, at the end of the day, he was going to wrestle.
no, it's going to be worse because if he gets hurt in a WWE ring, TMZ and all those other outlets that like to just snoop around for shit are going to eat this up. They're like, you knew he wasn't good. You knew it. All these doctors said no. And then the one damn time that the doctors say, yeah, fine, because they're tired of him nagging, you let him in the ring and look what happens. That's it. But you know, we all know this. We all know this. You can go right now to a doctor, tell them that you have this problem, and then they'll say, no, you don't have this problem. Don't have a problem. You go to one doctor. There's always gonna be somebody who's gonna say the opposite. It's always gonna be somebody that says, oh, you do, or somebody that says, I can cure you. There's always gonna be somebody. You know, you just can't do that. Can't do it. Mm-mm. So no, that's why I'm not excited about that.
All right then. I mean, I will admit, watching him in that
like when you all right. So when you interviewed him about this, and what did he said? What did he want to come back? Like he felt like he was hell bent on coming back to wrestle.
Oh no, he was gonna come back. He was coming back. He didn't outright say I'm coming back to the WWE, but it was like you will see me wrestle again. I am not going away. I will be here. And there was this kind of when you speak to him and you talk to him about wrestling, there's a light in his eye.
Of course, that was his passion.
It is his passion.
But you can't do it. You know what? It reminds me of boxers. You see it a lot with boxers. You know, sometimes with MMA guys, they have to walk away. Rico, did you ever watch boxing or MMA or any of that stuff?
I watched a bit of boxing and a bit of MMA.
Yeah, I watch more MMA.
Do you remember the Iceman Chuck Liddell? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, Chuck Liddell. Yeah.
Chuck Liddell. Yeah, he was on the front cover of some video games a while back. Anyway, here's a guy who was kicking ass constantly in the early days of UFC, knocking people out. Right, awesome fighter. Then he got knocked out. It's like, oh, well, everybody has their day to get caught, right? Okay, He's back, gets knocked out again. Then he gets knocked out again. Then he was kicking this one dude's ass, kicking him, he got him in the corner, and the guy just threw one punch. It didn't even look like a hit flush, and the guy was out cold. Iceman's out. What's going on? And that's when they started discussing about the concussions and how the brain, once it gets jarred out of the way, it never really fully goes back, and it's always loose. And now you're more prone to it. It's just what happens. And he eventually had to step away, because if not, you end up like a lot of these other boxers that never stepped away, like Riddick Bowe and stuff that can't even talk. It's like, what happened? Well, the blows to the head. That's what we call it, right? Too many blows to the head. But what are the blows to the head? What the scientific term is the concussions. That's what it is. The blows to the head loosen the brain. Now the guy's brain is all out of whack and it's bumped around in his head like bumper cars and he's got problems. And now this guy, here it is, has those issues. Daniel Bryan had all these concussions, knows it, and he's going to take the chance of going back in there. And all it takes is you just watch Lucha Underground. Now imagine if one of those guys had a history of concussions, chronic concussions, doing all that shit. You know, one wrong flip, you know, rolling out of the ring, or one big heavy dude landing on you the wrong way, the knee to the head, it's over. It's over. Why? I would not want to take that chance to know that every time I went in there, his career, his life could really come to an end. Like, yeah, that could happen anywhere. I could go across the street tomorrow, my shit could be over, you know. But you just jumped up to like 100%, you know, for your likelihood of something bad happening because of your condition. Don't do it. You know, and that's why I don't want to celebrate it or promote it as like a good thing. I see it as a desperate ploy for WWE to try to get as many of their fancy horses into this race for WrestleMania, because that's like their big event. So like, shit, people want to see him wrestle. Well, we'll take a chance. We'll just fucking put him in Mania. If he gets hurt after, whatever, but at least we get some seats. Because look at all these matches that they're putting together. Look at all these people they're trying to get. We're even hearing just Hogan making appearances and shit. Come on now. All this looks like...
That's true. And even watching it, I will tell you this, that as happy as unlike you, I was happy to see him back. I was happy that he was happy. My happiness was for him. But watching him take that beating, even though you can tell that they was kind of cautious with it, it was really painful to watch.
You're always going to get worried. You're always going to worry. Is that a legit hit? Is he really hurt? Is he selling it or is he faking it? What's going on? What is it legit? You know what I mean? It's always going to pop up. You know, no one wants to see it happen, but it feels like it's going to be one of those things. Like, shit. Are we going to watch it? Are we going to see something like this with Owen Hart? You know, or is that type of shit going to happen? Or with Draws, where he broke his neck in the ring? Are we going to have to see that again?
Yeah, that was tragic.
That was horrible. I know you didn't see that, Rico, but there was this one wrestler named Draws, and he was going against a guy named D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown, his finisher was like a running power bomb. So he picked the guy up, and then he would run and then slam him down. Well, when he went to slam him down, his whole body went over. It's just because it was a lot of weight. So he went flipping over with him. And so the guy didn't land his back flush. It went on his neck. So his weight plus the weight of D'Lo all on his neck, broke his neck, paralyzed for life.
Damn.
Just like that. Game over. You know, we had something recently, not so long ago, with Samoa Joe and Tyson Kidd.
Yeah.
You know, Tyson Kidd. There was another wrestler, same thing. Guy, awesome, never had any real injuries, especially now with his neck. Gets caught in a move. It's called the muscle buster. His head slips out when the guy goes down. Supposed to have the head up on the shoulder. It's like crouched up here. His head slipped down, went straight down, boom, hit his head, broke his neck. Done. Career's over. You know, it's and to hear those stories of even people that have gone through surgeries and they still don't make comebacks after that because they don't want to take the chance. You know, Edge. You probably maybe you know Edge. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Edge.
Come on, that's Matt Hardy's rival, man. Yeah, definitely know Edge.
Go with Matt Hardy when Edge took his real life girlfriend and all that shit.
Yeah, Lita.
Yeah, Lita. So Edge, for example, he broke his neck. He had the surgery, and then he noticed that while he came back, and oh yeah, I'm good to go. And while he was wrestling, he was getting numb. And in one match, he went numb on like the complete left side or right side of his body for like a half an hour or some shit. And he went to the doctors, and they said, "Yeah, you got the nerves are being pinched and stuff there. You can't do this anymore because if one wrong move, that's it. That's severed, and you're paralyzed." So he came out and he announced his retirement.
Said, "I won't be sparing nobody no more, man. I'm sorry."
That's it. He's not sparing anybody anymore besides his wife. He got 2 kids, so you know he did his thing. And that's what I'm saying. It's like these people that he Steve Austin. There's another one. Neck broke.
What happened to when that happened?
Oh, that happened years ago. Owen Hart, Bret Hart's brother, gave him a pile driver, and he had him too low, and so basically he pulled him and dropped his whole body on his head, broke his neck.
Jeez, you won't be stunning nobody no more.
No. There you go. So he did the surgery, and he came back, but he was never fully 100%. And then he started having knee problems, and next he was coming back with 2 full braces on his legs, and it was just too much for everything, for his head, for his knees, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't do this," and he had to retire. But you have to know, Lita, same thing, neck surgery. She broke her neck.
Yep.
She tried to come back. Nope, couldn't do it. She left.
She did that
I'm trying to think. The only success story that I can think of somebody coming back from a serious neck injury with surgery, not just trying to let it heal on its own in prayer, but with surgery, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle broke his neck. Yeah, he broke it twice. He broke it for the Olympics. He broke it in WWE wrestling. Got hooked on all the painkillers and all that shit. And then now he's back, and now he's still wrestling. Now he's gonna wrestle again. I mean, for years he wrestled Impact, but now we're gonna see him wrestle WrestleMania.
I just remember. I just picture an image that I remember a while ago. Kurt Angle just with a neck brace. I remember him with a neck brace.
There you go. I wouldn't be surprised if he walks around with one when he's not doing anything, just for like comfort. That's a lot of work. A lot of injuries on that neck. Think about how many times you've had a stiff neck. And just that feeling, just stiff neck, like, oh shit. Now imagine if you had a surgery and your shit's stiff all the fucking time.
Oh, fuck that, man.
That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
And that's why, Daniel Bryan kept saying he didn't want to get the surgery, because he saw the pattern that it still didn't do much. People saw their career ended. But you can't think that your body's going to naturally heal itself like that. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that for anything. I mean, it's almost like apple and oranges, but then it's sort of not, because like Steve Jobs, he knew he had cancer. He could have had treatment, but he wanted to go natural and take natural herbs and stuff. Then when he realized that wasn't working, it was too late for the treatment. And doctor said, hey, we could have got rid of this early on, but he didn't want to do the surgery. So it's like, what are you going to do, man? It's like, I believe, he's all about being natural, healthy in the body, but I think this is a bad decision. This is a tough sport. As much as people are like, oh, it's fake, it's scripted, yes, but there's a lot of athleticism, and you're still picking up another man and tossing him. There's no faking that. It's like stuntmen. They're throwing each other around. Those steps on the side, steel steps, those are real steel steps. They're like, oh, it's thin aluminum. No, it's thin aluminum. Then when they're stepping on it, they'll cave in. No, it's heavy duty steps. These guys are taking those impacts. The chairs, they're not taking direct chair shots. Back in the day they did, straight to the forehead. Now they don't. Top of the head. Straight to the forehead, you're hitting the frontal lobe. Next the guy's dizzy, can't remember shit. But it's just, it's dangerous. It's still dangerous. And they're putting their lives on the line, especially these type of situations. So it's sad. Well, Rey Mysterio. Speaking of Rey Mysterio, remember he killed a guy last year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He killed the guy. All right, so Regal said he does the 619.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he did a 619 to a guy, and the guy had a stroke or something from the impact and died in the ring.
I think I remember hearing that.
It was sad. Really sad. It was a young guy.
It was so freak.
Yeah, it was a freak, and they said there was he had some head condition. I don't think it was some kind of head condition or something, and that this kick triggered it. And that was it, and he died in the ring.
That was very unfortunate, but hopefully he won't. Daniel Bryan will be okay, even if he just does WrestleMania.
Even if he does WrestleMania, but the thing is, he's not just going to do WrestleMania. He could have easily just said, you know what, I'm coming back for Mania. But he thinks he's full time, and that's why they said, WWE said, oh, we're going to get our doctors to check him every day or whatever after every match. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't think I predict a few months, and then he stops. Maybe he starts feeling dizzy, because remember, he was feeling dizzy before when he came back. He said he was feeling dizzy, and that's when he realized something was wrong. It wasn't the same pain, but it was like he was forgetting things and stuff. He was blacking out.
Oh my
And that's gonna happen when your adrenaline is pumping and all that, and you're running around and this and that, and then you start getting all that shit happen. You're getting hit in the head, and you're getting tossed around. Hell, one of his moves is him throwing himself on his own head. I know he's not gonna do the diving headbutt anymore, right?
Hopefully not.
You know, so we'll see. And then that's right. I mean, for Raw, there was nothing really there. I mean, besides the ultimate deletion, that was my highlight.
That was amazing.
And that's something, Rico, you could watch that too, to see your boy Matt Hardy losing his mind.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's
But
legit
the best
crazy.
part about it was that they kept it looking low budget, and that I was really worried about. But they managed to do that really well.
Yeah, his Max type he tries to make it look like a B movie. Like it's like the filming type, and he has like what's it called? His drone.
The
Shit. He had his drone show up, and then it projects an image of Matt Hardy, and it's like, "Welcome to my compound," and this whole thing, and it's just they didn't shoot each other with Roman candles in this one, but they have a lot of craziness that happens. And his brother uh showed up, Jeff Hardy, but his brother Nero, he has the white contacts, and he looks like a zombie, like he's dead, because that was the thing. He got reborn and he's dead.
It was the dilapidated city. Remember?
Mm-hmm. It was good. But then again, that was right toward the end. And
did not like how they broke up the segments, though.
Which what, for all the matches, or just for?
No, remember during the whole Ultimate Deletion, they broke it up like in between matches. So they showed like the opening, and then they went to like a regular Raw match.
No, they didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, I didn't. At the end, I watched the whole thing. There was no matches.
They teased it throughout all of Raw.
Oh no! They didn't show matches. What they showed was him at the compound feeding his giraffe. Matt Hardy has a giraffe, and calling him George Washington. I said, he's crazy. He's crazy. So he was feeding the giraffe at George Washington, and then he was walking around talking to Senor Benjamin, the groundskeeper, and doing that whole thing. That wasn't the match. They showed the whole match entirety. What I didn't like is when Michael Cole was like, "Oh, get ready for whatever this is. I'm not excited for this at all." And just putting it down, and I knew instantly that was Vince. That had to have been Vince pumping in. Hey, whatever you think this is, I don't know. This is just whatever. It's just whatever. We're just airing this. But now, no, people want to see it. It was fun. See, Rico wants to see it.
And the whole thing, it just felt like WWE was downing their own product. It was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I did not like that.
With that thing, I didn't like that, and I still don't understand why Michael Cole is still employed. He needs to go.
But it's not his job. He's just a mouthpiece. Vince just tells him what to say, and that's it.
He's not very good. You can be basically the heel commentator and still be good. And not down your own product, which we all know was Vince, but I just don't understand that whole thing. It was weird. And overall, I'm just tired of him.
Here you go, Rico. That way you know what's going on. This is it. Full match. Ultimate Deletion. That's your boy Matt Hardy lost his mind. He's now woken.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then he got into he threw him into the whole lake of reincarnation.
Yeah, he threw him in the lake. But I just hope that if he does come back, I think he's going to come back even darker. I don't think they're going to clean him up. They're not going to clean him up. He's not going to get his dirty dreads cleaned out and doing all that. He's going to come back even darker.
You sure? Nice little suit and tie.
No, we don't need any of that clean cut shit. No, he needs to keep looking crazy, and he needs to, if anything, join up with Matt Hardy and be part of that. Because that's what happened with Jeff. He threw Jeff in there, and then Jeff came out as brother Nero, and all crazy, and like a zombie. So I can see him jumping in, but then they need to feud with somebody. Who are they going to feud with? There's no crews anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, unless it's a tag team, unless they do something like that, but I don't know.
I don't know either, but they need to do. I see. I just think that they might go in opposite direction with Bray. Like you can't get any deeper unless you try to make him like full blown Undertaker.
Well, that's the thing. It's gonna have to happen soon before Mania. I don't think they're gonna put someone of that caliber on the sidelines while they figure this out. He has to come out with this new gimmick before WrestleMania. Because I still predict he's going to be at Mania. Something's going to happen. Matt Hardy has to, be at WrestleMania. He's over right now. He's big time over.
Oh yeah.
People want to see Hardy at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's true.
Rico can't wait. He's going to watch WrestleMania. He wants to see this. Don't worry, Rico. You can watch WrestleMania with us.
Oh, Matt Hardy really let himself go. Really recognize him.
He looks crazy. Yeah, he's still in shape. He's not in bad shape.
It's hard to recognize him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, his hair and everything, and he's gotten older.
His whole freaking structure, like I couldn't even tell that was him when I first started.
Wait, you sure you're not looking at Bray Wyatt?
The big chubby dude with the dreads?
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's Bray Wyatt.
Oh God.
Okay.
Painful.
I thought that was Matt for a second.
No. Oh, you did think that was him. No, that's not him.
Okay.
That's not him. That's Bray Wyatt. Now, his gimmick is that he's like a crazy cult guy. He's like a guy from Far Cry, from Far Cry 5. Crazy cult guy. He had a following for a long time, the Wyatt family. He comes down to the ring with the lights out, and he has a lantern and stuff. They eventually broke everybody up, and some are on SmackDown, some are doing their own thing, and he's just crazy by himself. But the one match everybody wanted to see was between him and Broken Matt Hardy, because the Hardys, you probably don't know this, but Hardys left WWE for a bunch of years, and they went to Impact, TNA Impact. So while there, they created this new gimmick, which is the Broken Matt Hardy, which is now Woken Matt Hardy in WWE. But he was doing all these weird matches like this, and they were all over YouTube. So when the contract ended with Impact, WWE brought him back, and they brought both of them. Jeff is out hurt. He should be back to wrestle soon, but they brought him back, and they came back as the regular Hardys that They were doing, dungung, 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 all that stuff, and they were doing the moves. But then he would do his deletion chant, which is showing from what everybody remembers from his new gimmick. So every time he came out, people were always chanting delete, 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 which basically tells Vince that his audience, which he calls the universe, were aware that the Hardys were doing something outside of WWE that was pretty different. So he gave them the green light to do that gimmick here, because Vince usually doesn't like outside gimmicks. If he doesn't create it, he doesn't want it. But he was like, you know what, let's see if it works. And it's working. People buying it up. It's really crazy and over the top and very character driven, but it's fun to watch. So he's letting him do it, and it's working out.
After a long legal fight.
Yeah, there was a legal battle because he thought he owned the rights to the broken gimmick, and it turns out he didn't own the rights to broken gimmick. So then WWE's like, oh, okay, we'll just do Woken. But now he won the rights to the broken gimmick. So now there's talks that he might just come in as broken. They might switch it up. And if they do that, then I have a collector's item, because I have a Woken Matt Hardy shirt. And it says it Woken on it. So that's a collector's item then.
Jeez.
There you go. Whole lot of wrestling.
Yep. But overall, I thought Raw was decent. It opened up with the whole Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar just basically running through everybody, and that weird thing with the U.S. Marshal. Also, they read him his Miranda rights, which is hilarious. I think they never did that before, so that was something new.
Yeah, I find it funny that this was the time they want to do that. They never do that, But they usually don't have to do that. He's not really getting arrested. The security just escort you out. Security don't have to read the Miranda rights. Only real cops have to do that when they're going to bring you to the precinct.
Right, but here was the thing.
Whatever.
Roman can't get over at all in no shape or form. And I think that just by adding anything, I think WWE is trying to throw anything that they can at us to make us at least kind of somewhat cheerful.
Oh, it's sympathy. They're going for sympathy. Yeah. So Rico, this dude, they handcuffed him. His hands are handcuffed in front of him, and then Brock Lesnar comes out and gives him a bunch of suplexes while he's handcuffed.
Why?
Yeah, because that's their match at WrestleMania, and they're trying to make Brock look like the real badass, like the bad guy of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, all right, they did that. Then you think, all right, that I get it. It's a little over the top. Guy was handcuffed, and you're suplexing him. He can't really defend himself. So then the refs strap Roman Reigns, the guy who got injured, they strap him to a stretcher, right? So he's all strapped up on the stretcher. Then Brock comes running back out, grabs the stretcher, tips the whole shit over while he's still strapped onto it, and then he starts kicking him and shit while he's down, still strapped to the stretcher. So that was it, and it didn't. Again, I mean, I get what they're trying to go with, but it doesn't change the fact that no one wants to see this match.
No.
We all know the outcome. That's the thing. It's predictable. We all know the outcome. And it's just
why, because it was leak or because
it's hell. The leaker was Brock. Brock is sending pictures out with Dana White. He wants to go back to UFC, and he's talking about not signing the contract, that he's ready to go. His contract ends after WrestleMania. So everybody knows then. It's like, well, if he already wants to go back to UFC, Dana White has openly said, yeah, he's coming back to UFC. Then there you go. That means that Roman Reigns is going to win this match. And nobody wants to see Roman win because nobody likes him. He does like two moves and he's just not entertaining to watch. It's like, I don't know what it is about the guy. He has a look. Definitely has the look, but it's like a Superman punch and a spear and a Superman punch and a spear and another Superman punch. Just tired of it. So that's the WrestleMania main event. And then Ronda Rousey, you probably heard of her. She's now here.
Yeah.
And they have her in a tag match. She's going to be with Kurt Angle. And they're going against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. That's not much of a match because, I mean, Stephanie is not really a wrestler. Ronda is still new to pro wrestling. So she's not going to do much. Kurt Angle is, an older guy. We just finished talking about his neck and stuff. And Triple H, he's like the only one that's still sort of in shape to wrestle, but is he really going to do much wrestling? I mean, and that's their co-main event for WrestleMania. It doesn't sound that compelling.
No, it doesn't. But they're trying to sell it as being something really big and memorable.
And then with the whole and the whole thing we did the last part with the whole thing with Cena and Undertaker. Cena calling out the Undertaker, trying to get him to come out so that way they can have a match. And even if they do have a match, it's like Undertaker had so many surgeries and his hip surgery and his knee surgery. Like, we're not going to see the Undertaker that we want to see. So is it fair to him and is it fair to us? Why can't we just live with the memories of him just being a dead man?
No, not the dead man. We're getting Biker Undertaker. I'm telling you.
Biker Undertaker. See, Rico, there's a good time that you left and you didn't have to see that shit. When he was coming out to freaking Limp Bizkit and stuff.
Jeez.
Rolling. That man. When I saw that, I like a tear just rolled down. Where's my dead man? What is this crazy biker guy? What is this?
Yeah.
He needed a break, and the crowd needed something new.
He looked like the guy from Counting Cars that's on the History Channel. The guy who like collects cars and stuff and has the sunglasses in Vegas. Who's with the bandana and stuff, part of that Pawn Stars.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. I didn't like it.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we also got Asuka versus Alexa Bliss, which was a decent match, including the whole 300-pound weight off my shoulder thing with Nia Jax. Mickie James was there. She's still alive and well. And
Mickie James, wow.
Good.
Oh yeah, you remember? There you go. See, that's about certain names, and then it's like you trigger something.
I haven't heard that name in a while. That's the little blonde, not the redhead.
Yep.
All right.
Brunette. She's like a brunette now.
She's a brunette now. Oh Lord, I remember she was a redhead.
Yeah, she was. That means when you remember her, that was when she was running around with
Trish
Stratus.
Mm-hmm. Low-key trying to be like, trying to get with her and whatnot.
She was obsessed with her. Yep.
Yeah, that's the Mickie James I remember there.
Yeah,
Crazy
that
man.
that was brought up recently because at the Royal Rumble they had the first female Royal Rumble, and they brought back a lot of the female former stars into that. Lita came out, wrestled, and then what's her name? We just said it. I forgot it. Trish Stratus.
Yeah,
Trish Stratus, and then she came across, and then there was at one point it was Trish Stratus and Mickey James standing toe to toe, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, flashbacks."
yeah.
One's retired and the other one's still going. Hell, she had a kid and everything, and she's still wrestling.
Who, Mickey James or
Yeah,
Trish?
Yep.
Mickey James,
Oh,
Mickey James. Yeah,
Mickey James did a lot. She's been, around that country music
yeah,
with
yeah. She came out with an album, a country music
special tape
album.
that she did with no clothes on.
She did.
No one seems to remember this, but apparently she did.
I don't remember that.
No one
But
was
yeah,
remembering.
yeah, no, she's there. She's still there. Damn. See, now it made me want to think about other people. Big Show is still around. He had some surgeries and stuff like that, but he's still there. Mark
He
Henry's
lost a
going
whole
in the
bunch of
Hall of
weight.
Fame. He's retired. He's going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Big Show was there. He lost a lot of weight. He has muscles now.
Yeah, yeah. He showed us saw a picture where he had like a 6-pack. I'm like, are you kidding me? Something about seeing a 6-pack on a giant like that doesn't look right. Maybe because I'm so used to just seeing a big belly on a giant guy. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. It just seems like it doesn't. I don't know. Not natural. I don't know.
It's different.
It is different.
It's different, but he looks good. He had a lot of health scares, and so he decided to, get in shape. He's looking good. So it's good to see him. Maybe he might make an appearance at WrestleMania. Maybe do some random match. He's doing the Maybe he's doing the Battle Royal thing.
Mm,
Everyone's like, nah. Okay, so anyway, but Nikki James, she had her match. That was an okay thing with Asuka, Braun Strowman, and Cesaro. That was a pretty decent match thing. I think Strowman needs another catchphrase other than "get these hands." That would be nice. They need to do
that's
something.
whatever they give him. I don't think he has any control over what he says. He's not at that level.
The sad part about it, Strowman, for you don't know, he's this big wrestler, very huge, and he is the tag team champion,
By
basically.
himself.
By himself.
Is he a tag champ? No, he has a tag champ.
He's
He
the
has a
World Tag Team
match.
Champ?
No, no. He has a title shot, but he's by himself. He doesn't have a tag partner.
Yep, yeah.
See, so that's the thing. He has to find a partner, and that's where they're gonna do the whole. I have a feeling we probably won't know until Mania or something.
Big Show.
Yeah.
There you go. Watch it be Big Show.
Nope.
What are you knowing?
Maybe. Who knows?
Big
Anything's
Show.
possible. Two big
Show.
guys. Remember, but he hurt him.
I heard Big Show retired.
Nope.
No. Okay.
No. Mark Henry retired, but not Big Show. But
Yeah,
that's the thing. If you go with storylines, I mean, remember the Big Show, his last match was with Braun, and Braun threw him through the cage. Remember, where he broke the cage and then he hurt himself, and that's what required the surgery. That's the storyline. That was the last match. So I don't see them, if they want to stick with storylines, they're not gonna say, "Oh, by the way, this is my tag partner, the guy that I sent to the hospital and who was out for half a year."
We all know that these storylines, they're not.
I know. They whisper in the winds.
Yeah.
But
that was decent. Except for him having to find an opponent, not an opponent, a tag team thing. Revival. They're doing something more with them, even though it's with Titus Worldwide, which I don't understand why it's still together. But you had that Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rhodes. That was another generic match. John Cena, remember as you said previously, is trying to call out the Undertaker and said he got Kane. Do you remember Kane?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Kane's still there.
It was
Kane is also running for mayor in his local town over in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee.
He actually teamed up with the Undertaker, and they have been on the campaign trail together.
I could see that.
That was weird.
The Undertaker is big into real estate. He owns a bunch of office buildings. So I can see, if they go on the business side, I can see that, and then Kane owns an insurance company. besides doing the wrestling. He owns an insurance company, like homeowner insurance, car insurance. It's so crazy, right? When you see like these separate things and you see what they're doing outside of the business.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're running for mayor? But remember, Jesse the Body Ventura was a governor, Minnesota.
That is very true.
Wasn't there an episode of WWE a long time ago where Donald Trump was on it?
Donald Trump was a general manager for a little while, and then he got stunned by Steve Austin. Steve Austin gave him the stunner, and then he attacked Vince McMahon, and they had a fight. He loved wrestling. He was always part of it. He loved the product. He's all about it.
Vince.
He loved Vince, but even though when you hear about like wrestlers that don't have no reason to kiss his ass because they don't work anymore, but they were there during that time when he was around, they said he was like one of the boys. Like he loved being part of it. He wanted to be a part of like any stories and skits he wanted. He was like, oh yeah, I want to do that. He wanted to get physical. He wanted to get involved. So whatever. But yeah, I mean, remember, Vince McMahon's wife is part of his cabinet. That's one person that hasn't been fired yet, so she's still there. Linda McMahon, she's part of their small business department.
That is very true. So it can't. Yeah.
So, it is. But it's funny though. They don't acknowledge that at all. They don't bring up Linda. They don't bring up that he won. I mean, hell, Trump is in the Hall of Fame for the WWE. He's in their celebrity wing. They don't ever bring that up. When he won the presidency, they act like it was a normal day. They didn't even congratulate him. It's just too much bad press with all that shit.
Yeah, that is true as well. Times have changed so much from that WrestleMania when they did the hair versus hair match. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I mean, what's his name? Yeah, it was with I forgot who else was with it, but it was McMahon and Trump. Was it Triple H that wrestled?
With who?
When they did the hair versus hair.
Triple H. It was. I want to say it was Steve Austin and someone else.
Was it Shane?
No, shit, I don't remember. Damn, what was it? Yeah, but he had to shave Vince's hair. I remember that.
So it was during WrestleMania. It was
WrestleMania match.
It was a long time ago.
Yep, those were the days.
Those were the days. But Raw was, as you said before, it was pretty generic. You had the Miz and the Entourage, the Miz-tourage, basically wrestle Finn Balor, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson. They don't seem like they know what they're doing with Finn. Finn is just.
Did you hear a rumor? I heard some nasty rumor. People saying that they're going to try to give him a gay gimmick.
No.
Yeah, I don't believe that either, and I don't want to believe it because I don't think his character needs that right now.
No.
Yeah, that they're trying to do like some stupid shit. Hopefully not. Let's not go there.
No. Oh God, no. That would just. I don't even see the purpose behind that.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that doesn't even make any sense.
Nope.
If they tried to, no.
But you know what? I think we should get a quick rundown because we are going late because we started so damn late.
Yeah.
I was looking at the time here and I'm getting messages, so I was like, oh. But I mean, we covered pretty much everything. That was the key stuff, and of course, the main thing that happened in SmackDown was with Daniel Bryan, which I'm not all for at all. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope everything works out for him, and months down the road, we're like, yeah, remember when we worried about that? But you know what? I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna talk about we're worried about it, and some shit's gonna happen. Is what it is. But I think that's it. I mean, it's getting to that point where it's just we're getting closer to Mania. And that's where it really matters. Really, we want to see how this shapes up. Right now, I'm only hyped for TakeOver. That's it. That and the Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has a show that they're building up. So that should be fun. Yeah, WrestleCon and Oh, what was that?
Wow. Sorry, computer just went a little haywire there.
There you
But
go.
yeah, the WrestleCon is going to be interesting. You know, they're doing the little mashup with Lucha, and
Yeah, Lucha and Impact, and that's I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's we didn't talk much about that, but Impact is it's just pretty much dead in the water. I mean, everybody that they have is either washed up or done, and everyone's leaving, and they already said they're not paying anybody what they deserve. They're like, if you want to leave, go ahead, leave. We'll just replace you. We don't give a shit. Bobby Lashley, remember he left, and supposedly he signed with WWE, so we'll wait and see what happened with him. Do you remember him?
Bobby Lashley, yeah, I remember. I was there when he debuted, man.
There you go. Well, Bobby Lashley is back.
Nice.
Bobby Lashley was in Impact for years, and he's also an MMA guy, and he's won a bunch of fights.
I remember when he was a nobody, and I
Yeah.
saw his signature move. That move was awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see that again. And they've gone real quiet with that, and I have a feeling he's just going straight to the main roster. He's not gonna do the NXT trip. I think they're gonna throw him right to the top.
that's but we have to wait and see for that. Maybe he might appear during WrestleMania. Who knows? But overall, it was a pretty, aside from Daniel Bryan, it was a pretty bland week. I know
Yeah,
NXT.
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like nothing. It's getting to that point where, and we don't want it. We don't want to see too much going on because then you start changing up the card, and then WrestleMania matches don't matter. And I mean, the big shocker right now, and we talked about it, was not just the Daniel Bryan, but with Bray Wyatt talking about getting a new character being deleted. It's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, but it looks like it's happening, and I hope they stay going with his dark gimmick and they don't clean him up. And I know I'm tired of this whole whenever something happens, they clean him up and he has a suit and all. I don't need that. I don't need it. You know, make him crazy. Make him keep going crazy. That's what I like about Lucha. Everything's all over the top. People wearing crazy masks and stuff. And that's what I want. I was thinking about it. That Monster Matanza mask reminds me of Frankenstein from Death Race. Do you remember Death Race? Did you see Death Race?
I did see Death Race, yeah.
That mask, because that was the whole thing with Frankenstein. It was like no one knows what he looks like. He just wears his mask, and they told Jason Statham just to put the mask on. That's what that looked like. I was like, oh, that's it, and you just get like the jumpsuit, So we'll see. And there's another guy. That guy Matanza got passed on. That's Jeff Cobb, and he was an Olympic wrestler for Guam. He's Hawaiian. And he got passed. WWE passed on him. He went to the performance center, did a tryout and everything. Can you imagine it? Riku, that guy, a big guy like that, doing all those flips and then saying no to him? Nah, you're not good enough.
Dang.
Are you kidding me? Did you see how I move in this ring? Come back next time. They just passed on him. He did an interview. It was so funny where he talked about there was 8 people there. They did a tryout. He said 6 of them got called up, right, to stay. 2 didn't. He didn't, and then the guy next to him who had an injury. So he said he like, so I'm just as bad as a guy who's hurt. You know what I mean? It's like that's embarrassing. And they were like, "What'd you do after?" He's like, "Well, I just went and slept on my buddy's floor because I was in town, and that's where I'm sleeping because I don't have money to pay for a hotel." It's so sad because he's so good. But it's all right. We'll see him in Lucha. And that's the other thing. He has trouble getting indie bookings because some promoters don't know that that's him under the mask, So they don't know. So he was like, oh, yeah, I'm Jeff Cobb and this and I wrestle as Matanza. Like, who? What? The big monster on the Lucha Underground. And then he has to send footage or links to YouTube. That's me under there doing all that.
Dang.
So I could see that. I never thought about it because I always thought about like with luchadors and why they wore the masks because they had real jobs. Most of them wrestling was a part-time thing, and they just wanted to have that freedom to walk around and live their normal life. But on the other side, it could hurt you when you're trying to get work in wrestling, outside of the mask. I was like, how do you prove that's you? So like, oh. Whatever. But yeah, but I think that's it. It's already, yeah, I think it's like 1 o'clock where you guys are, right? Almost one
Yep.
thirty.
Yep.
Almost 1:30. So let's say our goodbyes. Thank everybody for watching, tuning in. Thanks everybody that downloads. A lot of people download and watch it, and they send nasty messages to me and stuff. That's just
Hopefully, I don't get any nasty messages, man. Follow me on Twitter, Rikusan1.
there you go. Riku-san one. Follow him on Twitter. Don't say any nasty messages. Tell him
Hey,
to support Lucha Underground.
Lucha
And,
Underground. It's fire.
that's always fun. Send those clips. Everybody likes those gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Thanks for having me.
there you go. And then Dana Koalition.
Yep.
Keeping it real, doing all
Nice
the
to meet you, Dana.
Pleasure to meet you too.
This was a tricky show to put together because like we said, you had Rich who was like, yeah, I'm flying out and hopefully I'll make it, and it didn't look like he made it, and then we didn't have the account set up right, then we needed authentications and verifications, and yeah, a lot happened, and some of the Ricky couldn't make it, and it was a mess, but it worked out, and we were able to get some stuff done and got to some insight. I love talking to people that don't watch wrestling all the time. It's always fun.
Yeah. It's definitely good to see what is happening in wrestling. Just freaking what has it been?
We have
10 years later, because like I said, it was 2004 to 2008 is when I was watching wrestling like every week. So it's been 10 years since I seen where everyone's. It's cool to still see some people.
It is.
It's like different gimmicks, not even the same person. I remember them. Yeah. Shit, it's cool.
I tell people it's like a soap opera. It's like Days of Our Lives, General Hospital. These things go on forever. You know what I mean? And it's like people every once in a while, whoever did watch it, come back or they ask somebody, it's like, you still watch that? Is so and so still alive? Is that one still? Yeah, that one's all that. It's like, oh wow, because that's what this is. This never ends. It just keeps going. And it's just so crazy because we have had people, that'll jump in the chat and be like, hey, I like listening to the show, but I stopped watching the product. I just like to hear what's going on now.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's what's going on. So it's a recap into the novella.
I'm pretty sure now you're going to run and start watching wrestling all over again.
I don't think I don't think I
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
But for Lucha, I think for Lucha, it's worth it because it's so much of like a TV show.
And NXT, watch some NXT.
Oh yeah, NXT is good. NXT
good. Those two, and you'll be fine. And my mixed match challenge. So.
Oh God, mixed match challenge. Let's not talk about that.
That's
over, right? Isn't it over?
No, it's not over.
Shit.
It's not over. It's almost. But no, it's not. Thank you very much. Still there. It's about 10 minutes. Watch it again. It's very good.
She's a little spunky one, isn't she?
Yeah, she likes it. There you go. All right. Well, then you keep watching that, and then I'll see you guys on Sunday for Throw Down Your Questions. And I think Dana, you're doing the co-op, right? You're still
doing the co-op.
That's on
Sunday. And I'll end up on your show, the Throwdown as well. Just bum rush it one day.
Nice. Well, you usually do that in the chats. You usually jump in the chats. So.
Yeah, talk about No Mercy.
There you go. No Mercy. Yeah, love No Mercy.
There you go.
All right, people. Have a good weekend. Enjoy it. Keep watching wrestling. There's a lot of it out there.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening. That wraps up our show.
Peace out.
Peace out, everyone.